Hey guys, Demoman here with another video for you. So this will be another ship video. This one's on the AEGIS Eclipse, so without further ado, let's jump right in and get started, because this is going to be a long one. Warning. By accepting these terms, you are confirming that you are a citizen in good standing with the United Empire of Earth, the UEE, and by purchasing this ship, you respect all laws, both UEE and beyond. The information within this notice is promulgated to you as a citizen in good standing of the United Empire of Earth, the UEE, pursuant of the Historical Truth Act of 2941 HTA and the Militia Mobilization Initiative, the MMI, and consummately subject to all applicable laws and regulations. Any elements of this disclosure not remanded to civilian clearance by the HTA are conditionally supplied to you, contingent upon the basis of the status as a citizen in good standing. By accepting this information, you reaffirm your civic privilege and laws of defense of the United Empire of Earth, and the responsibilities incumbent upon your citizenship. The Project Eclipse, signature mitigated strike craft. Hereafter, Eclipse offered within this disclosure is military level asset, and such is subject to specific and compulsory legal exemptions and requirements to their use and registration under the MIL PROC. Notwithstanding the disclassification of Project Eclipse, Eclipse embodies proprietary technologies and intellectual property that remain under the ownership of Aegis Dynamics and or the UEE. Accordingly, both the MIL-PROC exceptions to doctrine of first sale and Bio-Rule regulations restricted the export of military-level assets apply. You may not transfer, assign, sell, or otherwise convey Eclipse to any individual who was not a citizen in good standing of the UEE, or pain of social dermot. You further agree to register any resale, gift, or other transaction of title Eclipse within the MIL-PROC registrar. Any cartographic templating provisions accompanying the purchase of the Eclipse by you will be considered null, void, and reportable in the event of an unlawful transfer of interest. You must immediately report any incident or failure to maintain full control over the disposition of the Eclipse to any MIL-PROC registrar, including, but not limited to, the submission of any insurance claim, report of theft or larceny, or salvage notice. Project Eclipse. Armed with multiple torpedoes and state-of-the-art scan-diffusing technology, the Aegis Eclipse has been the UEE's best and least known protection. It is the Navy's top choice in border defense and preferred first-strike weapon against the Vandal. Now, in an effort to increase transparency with the Zayan, the Eclipse is declassified and available for purchase by citizens. Achieving stealth. In 2930, the UEE Navy was in need of a more advanced stealth bomber to use specifically in defense operations against the Vandal. Military casualties were mounting in cases of direct combat with the Vandal capital ships. The Navy needed a ship that could strike quickly before the enemy detected their presence or soften up a strategic target in anticipation of a larger attack. Aegis Dynamics won that bid. The alluring design, massive firepower, and cutting-edge clandestine technology of their design easily surpasses the competition. The Eclipse's advanced hull system is adaptable to environments thanks to its multiple wing configurations that adjust to space or atmospheric flight. After years of extensive field tests, the Aegis Eclipse went into service in 2932. Since then, the Eclipse has served as the unseen sentinel of our borders. Now it is time to recognize the Eclipse's many years of service. About the concept sale. The Aegis Eclipse will be available for purchase at concept sale price of $275 and the war bond price of $250. By purchasing this ship, you are supporting the development of Star Citizen. Every dollar earned from concept sales goes directly towards creating the best damn space sim ever. The developers at CIG appreciate your support. Warbond SKUs include the unique serial number and additional in-game poster featuring the Project Eclipse logo, and an alternative ship skin featuring an alternative ice blue and matte black livery, used by the UEEN, that's the United Empire of Earth's Navy. Funding from war bond sales goes directly to the war effort, with funding going to support and enhance the game development process. The Eclipse sale will run through Friday, June the 2nd. The loaner ship will be the Aegis Retaliator bomber, with additional access to the Anvil Gladiator for use in Arena Commander. The flight-ready price of the Eclipse is expected to be $330. Classified document. High Command Budgetary Review. Unauthorized possession is a crime. All access is recorded, protected by iScan. Official declassification. High Command Budgetary Committee. Since its introduction to military service in 2932, the Aegis Eclipse has distinguished itself as the most advanced stealth bomber in our arsenal, with over 3 dozen successful operations since the first flight in Operation Lighthammer under Captain. The Eclipse has participated in numerous stealth and tactical bombing operations over the years, primarily for the offensive measures performed by the UEE Navy. With so many successful covert operations to its name, we, the UEE Navy, believe that the Eclipse has enscored itself as a dependable and consistent member of the naval fleet, and we hope that you will continue funding Project Eclipse at an estimated annually. Attached is an overview of the Eclipse stats, history, and combat experience for review. Front view. Inconspicuous twin engines are mounted into the round, arrowing body style of the Eclipse. Weapons are stored internally until they are ready for use. Landed. The 2939 Eclipse introduced a falling wing configuration to maximize space conservation. Side. Armed with multiple torpedoes, the Eclipse is designed to get in quiet, hit hard, and escape. In the event of direct engagement, an embedded ballistic Gatling weapon system, light armor, and small shields can provide enough of a deterrent for the ship to look for a quick escape. Space view. Stealth mode. During zero-G spaceflight, the Eclipse typically adopts the compact wing position in order to create a slightly smaller profile for harder detection. The bomber is also equipped with an advanced scanning and detection suite to quickly detect possible threats, so the target can be eliminated before it knows what hit them. Atmosphere expanded mode. The wings of the Eclipse can fully expand and deploy smaller fins around its body to improve aerodynamics, which is most useful during atmospheric flight. Trial by fire. The Eclipse proved itself during Operation Lighthammer. Insurgent group had attacked settlements in the UEE space and fled to the Banu system of Gliese. The UEE Navy, with the support of the Banu Protectorate, carried out a successful air assault against the enemy population. The Eclipse's scan diffusing technology enabled Captain to take the insurgents by surprise. Thanks to the bomber's targeting accuracy, civilian casualties were minimalized and the threat was quickly eradicated. Notable operations. Gliese, Operation Lighthammer, VS-1, Operation Boomerang, Tiber, Operation Silent Strike, Orion, Caliban, Operation Surreal, Virgil, Operation Liberty Shield, VS-3, Operation Trident, VS-2, Operation Spirit Flight. Final note. Technical achievements aside, the Eclipse has firmly ensconced itself as the Navy's reliable first strike weapon into Vanduul space. For example, Project Eclipse has become a vital and indispensable part of a defensive strategy, and with continued funding, the future is only brighter from here. If you require any additional information, operation files, or would like to see the Eclipse in action for yourself, don't hesitate to contact our office. Rear Admiral UEEN, Projects Division, Edgar Currington, Military Liaison, Aegis Dynamics. This document and the associated files are confidential and intended solely for use of the individual or entity to whom they are addressed. If you have received this in error, please notify the nearest UEE Navy station. Copying, sharing this document with unauthorized personnel is a criminal act and punishable by law. So, that's pretty much all the heavy stuff covered. Let's move into the Q&A and then we'll do the ship's current stats. So, let's jump in and do this. What does stealth mean within the Star Citizen universe? Stealth in Star Citizen revolves around being hard to detect via the in-game systems, these being primarily radars and scanners. As mentioned previously, the Saber Q&A, the Saber and the Eclipse are both built from the ground up, around the concept of stealth, whereas the Hornet Ghost was retrofitted to this mechanic. Not only does the specific hull design of the Saber and Eclipse provide benefits to reduce their visibility on radar, but they are both equipped by default with stealth class items. The item/component classes we currently have are military, civilian, industrial, stealth, and competition. Stealth class items of each item type provide the lowest emissions, IR and EM, at the expense of raw output and durability. Other classes will have comparable benefits and weaknesses, allowing players to mix and match items to tune their ship's behavior. Ships like the Eclipse come default with all stealth class items, whereas the Saber comes with some military and some stealth, and the Ghost has civilian and stealth. We'll be discussing the different classes of items in depth in the future. It's said that the Eclipse will bring a unique stealth components to the game. Will older stealth ships like the Saber and Hornet Ghost be upgraded to include these stealth components, or are they specifically only for the Eclipse? It is very rare that these items are hull locked, and currently none of the default items, i.e. power plants and shield generators, are tied to specific ship, such as the Eclipse, as mentioned previously. We have the stealth class of each of which provides significant benefits to signature reduction, and applicable ships will either come default with these or are able to equip them. Wouldn't size 9 torpedoes in fighters be considered game breaking, when the Retaliator already has size 9s and the Polaris capital ship has size 10s? The Eclipse was designed from the start carrying size 9s. The trade-off is it doesn't carry much else, and is neither very tough nor agile. It's not designed to be a dogfighter, but rather a very specialized bomber that wants to approach a target silently, fire its payload, and leave. The Eclipse carries 3 size 9 torpedoes and 2 size 2 ballistic Gatling weapons. These larger torpedoes take a while to lock on to smaller ships, and combined with a relative lack of agility, that will mean that the Eclipse will have a tricky time trying to use them in a dogfight. The eventual $330 flight ready tag is quite expensive for a single person ship, and given how little detail we have at this stage, what is the intention behind the ship's design that warrants the high tag that we may be missing at initial glance? For its size, the Eclipse punches far above its weight class with its ordnance armament. It's capable of destroying larger ships and causing serious damage to capital ships. A specialized loadout of stealth equipment and large torpedoes all contribute to its ability to perform this task. With regards to the announced future price, keep in mind that every Star Citizen concept ship is priced below its component value and in-game economy. In the past, it was difficult to predict the final price, with ships going through the significant iterations between the concept and flight-ready stages. With the ship's pipeline functioning as the way it does today, we can now provide a solid estimate of future pricing. Will there be any civilian components looking to retrofit this military craft's torpedo ports, allowing for stealth cargo running? A fun idea, but this is not something we're currently exploring. Will the Eclipse torpedo bay be modular, so that the ship can be used for other purposes such as electronic warfare? This is not something we're currently planned. The Eclipse was designed around this sole purpose, while something like the Vanguard series can be more flexible with its modularity. Can the Eclipse carry anything other than the 3 size 9 torpedoes, like for instance a ton of regular missiles or multiple of smaller torpedoes, like the size 5 carried by the Gladiator? Again, the Eclipse is an extremely specialized vessel, designed to excel at its intended task and role, so this is not something we are currently planned. What ship hangars will the Eclipse fit into? It's a sizable ship to be certain. While it cannot fit into the Polaris, it should be able to operate snugly out of a Javelin hangar. Can the Eclipse bomb both air-to-air and air-to-ground? If you can lock onto the target, you can attack it with the torpedoes, whether it is air-to-air or air-to-ground. What kind of quantum jumping range can we expect from this ship? The Eclipse currently sits in between the Gladiator, essentially a carrier-borne torpedo bomber, and the Harbinger in terms of its range, and is expected to stay around there. It doesn't currently have a lot of fuel reserves, so a single mission is the best plan of attack rather than a daisy chaining of a few together, where a Retaliator or a Harbinger would fare far better. Can a Terrapin pick up the trail of an approaching eclipse, both in their different default configurations, in time to warn a nearby fleet? It's possible, but it won't be easy for either ship. Terrapins are extremely strong at detecting signatures, and whilst the Eclipse is very good at having a low signature, it still has one. With the Terrapin in a good location, and an operator on their toes, they should be able to detect it. But whether they have time to get the message across is a different problem entirely. What purpose does the Eclipse serve in the civilian market? Can the bay be retrofitted for carrying cargo or data storage modules, or some other use? Or is this a dedicated bomber suited for private military contractor use only? There are no plans for swappable bays. It is a dedicated bomber with that sole focus. What are the expected speed and agility levels of the Eclipse? The Eclipse is currently planned to be pretty fast in a straight line, having comparable speed to the Gladius. But it's also not an agile ship. It's currently planned to be comparable to the Gladiator for flight agility. How many Eclipses will it take to take down, say, a 890 Jump, Polaris, or Idris? As always, we must preface this by reminding everyone that all things are subject to change during the game development. But at our current thinking about how this should currently play out is a pair of Eclipses going unnoticed attacking an Idris with its shields down, and its defense turrets disabled, can cripple the ship if hit in the right areas. Attacking such large targets like this, though, would be fairly foolish with such a small attack force, although once you factor in the overall shields and defensive capabilities of everyone involved, sub-capital ships, however, are much more vulnerable to an Eclipse or two, whereas assaulting a capital ship would most likely require a first strike with an Eclipse or two followed up by a heavy sustained assault with Retaliators, Gladiators, or Harbingers. Is the 2 times fixed ballistic size 2 really going to hurt anything significant? While the weapon complement is only one component in the overall success of any dogfight. Similar loadouts on other ships are designed for that purpose can often be more effective than on another ship with a specialized focus like the Eclipse. Here they function more as a deterrent or tool to finish off a crippled target than an effective fighting loadout. The Eclipse isn't supposed to be hanging around in a dogfight. This is a specialist ship with a very niche role to deliver its devastating torpedo payload to unsuspecting targets. Considering the sensitive nature of this ship, will purchase of this ship be limited in-game, like by reputation? Does the UEE try to prevent ships like this from falling into pirate hands? With the 2947 announcement, we considered the Eclipse to be for export, meaning that it can be sold to select groups outside the UEE military, including you. We anticipate there will be any number of limitations in the game world, including both the number of bombers produced at any given time and other factors relating to reputation. It seems unlikely that the UEE would sell bombers directly to known pirates or other criminals, but it's also easy to imagine other ways for such individuals to acquire military-spec ships. How does the Eclipse place among other bombers, specifically in range, speed, maneuverability, armament, survivability, roll flexibility, and jump capability? Range can be a tricky one to quantify, but basing it on duration and distance we see as it follows: Polaris, Retaliator, Harbinger, Eclipse, and Gladiator. The first 3 all have support for long duration trips with onboard facilities, while the Eclipse and the Gladiator do not. As speeds will naturally change over the course of development, the current ordering in terms of max SCM speed going from fastest to slowest in a straight line acceleration will be as follows: the Eclipse, the Gladiator, the Harbinger, the Retaliator, and then the Polaris. Maneuverability will be the Eclipse Achilles heel, and is squarely at the bottom of the smaller ships in this trait. with both the Gladiator and Harbinger outmaneuvering it. Armament is another trait not easily compared straight across the other ships, as it obviously packs a devastating punch with its torpedoes, but once those are gone, it will be considerably outgunned if you choose to stick around without rearming. If you intend to hang around after attacking, then the Eclipse is not the ship for this, and the Gladiator or Harbinger are much more suited for that role. Survivability also comes into play here, with the Eclipse being less durable than either the Gladius or the Harbinger, currently expected to have a similar durability of that of a 300i. Basically, you use it for its intended role. We expect the Eclipse to excel above others, but deviating outside of that, the Eclipse will not fare well, with its lack of cargo space, a singular seat with no interior, and limited weaponry. The Harbinger will allow you to maintain longer time in the verse, and the Gladiator will pack more of a rounded punch. To summarize, the intended roles between the four bombers, Polaris excluded. The Gladiator is a short-range bomber capable of absorbing and dishing out damage. The Eclipse is a mid-range stealth bomber capable of sneaking behind enemy lines and delivering a high-damage strike, but should not stay in combat due to its defensive shortcomings. The Harbinger is the mid to long-range endurance bomber carrying more weapons and armament than the Gladiator and able to take more of a pounding and survive deeper into space, but without stealth capabilities of the Eclipse. The Retaliator is the dedicated long-range bomber able to carry the most ordnance, the most men, and the most weaponry to defend itself via its turrets. It can sustain itself and its crew from much deeper in the verse, and is ideal for striking targets a long way away. This is a good opportunity to mention that we are well aware of the many community's issues with the Retaliator's capacity, turret behavior, layouts, etc. And whilst we can't commit to changes presently in the short term, it is on our radar and we'll be reviewing at some point in the future. Will I be able to purchase a large cloth to keep this covered in my hangar? While the Historical Truth Act has permitted an unprecedented release of previously classified UEEN military information, including the existence of the Eclipse bomber, it has not authorized any discussion of the Crusader Industries B419 AR Tactical Stealth Utility TARP, the TSUT. Any discussions of its capabilities or availability should be reported to the nearest advocacy agent. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So let's move now on to the technical overview of this awesome ship. So radar small, computers small, has two of those. It has a small power plant, one small cooler, and two small shield generators. No doubt this is something that's not going to want to hang around in a fight. Two small fuel intakes, two small fuel tanks, small quantum drive, small jump module, two small quantum fuel tanks. Weapons, two small weapons. Missiles, 3 size 9. So remember, these missiles do fire one after the other, not as a sort of triple threat. You have to fire one, the arm rotates, grabs the next torpedo, fires that, the arm rotates, grabs the next torpedo, and fires that. They do not fire as like a triple kind of rocket deal. It's sort of a one after the other kind of deal. Retro thrusters 2 main, and it also has 8 gimbaled maneuvering thrusters. So within its specifications, we have around a ship that is a length of 20.5 meters, beam of 36.6 meters, height 4.4 meters. It's shorter than the Sabre, so it's a pretty low down ship. Size medium, mass 54,216 kilograms. Structural 0 cargo capacity. Doesn't have any further stats on its maneuvering capabilities as of yet, but it has a maximum and a minimum crew of 1. So, would I grab the Eclipse personally? I do like it, it's a fantastic ship, but no, I would not for 2 reasons. One, it's too focused towards the conflict kind of role for me, to be honest. I do love the idea of having a stealth bomber, but I don't like its longevity, or lack thereof. in terms of its gameplay longevity. Of it's built for one desired role, you will only take it out once in a while for that desired role, and it can't really do much else. But the reasons that would make me want to get it is it does those desired roles exceptionally well. It can completely take your enemy by surprise, and with a payload like that, you're going to definitely do a serious amount of damage, whether it be for attacking an enemy capital ship, or maybe you are in a long, more sustained conflict with another organization. Using something like this to cripple their industrial force is really, really a good move. This is something that could insta-kill a Caterpillar, or a Starfarer, or maybe some of the MISC Hull series of ships. This is something you would use to cripple your enemy's supply chain of resources, like take out their Orions and things like that, without them even knowing what happened. This is a really powerful ship in the use of long warfare. It's also fantastic, I can imagine, in terms of the missions you may receive if you have a stealth fighter like this, from maybe different mission givers within the verse, missions that are more tailored towards stealth attacking. You really do have a good ship on your hands for that type of stuff. So yeah, the Eclipse is a very, very cool ship. It's a very beautiful ship, and it does fall under the Aegis banner, and I love all things Aegis. So yeah, it's a pretty cool ship in my book, and I would give it a Demo Man 8 out of 10 rating for what it does. Yeah, the reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is I don't see it having any cup holders, and that's not good in my view. I do love my cup holders. I mean, you know, can't fly around without having a nice drink by your side. Oh, I mean, what is this madness? But yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. This has been another ship video. Don't worry, I will be doing a bunch more video series in the future. I'll be doing them alongside this series, like my Star Citizen how-to guide, and my Star Citizen Theorycraft series. I've got a whole bunch of ideas cooking right now, and I'm gonna be putting them into videos. As you guys know, I do like to have on the screen what I'm talking about, and it's hard to source the footage that I need for when I'm describing stuff such as the medical profession and things like this. So you know the drill. Fly safe, commanders, and I'll see you in the verse.